Hey my amazing people, Hamza here and welcome back to the channel. Now in this video I want to show you how you can create a beautiful and professional blog or website using the Kadence theme and the Kadence blocks. I mean, we are going to create something from totally nothing to a fully working blog or website that you can use for your business right now. Okay, without any further ado, let's get started. My story with Kadence starts way back 3 years ago when I came across the theme, and since I had this passion to start climbing and hiking and training and all that stuff, I decided to document my process, my training process and everything during my preparation, and that's when I decided to check out the Kadence theme and give it a test. So over the last couple of years I have been using the Kadence theme to run my personal blog over here, which is a hiking blog. And for example, this is how it looks like when I go to, for example, one of the blog posts. That's the blog layout and all the content. There are also videos, by the way, and everything down below here. After all that time using and testing out the Kadence theme, I'm like, why don't I actually show you how you can build something like this or even better using the Kadence theme and the Kadence blocks. And I'm going to take you through the process on how you can recreate this kind of blog. So obviously you have a header here, which is a transparent header, and then you have the home hero, and then you have another section over here just giving a summary about the blog post, and then you have another section coming over right there. These are all actually Gutenberg blogs. So then we have the testimonials section, and also we have the destination section where you actually summarize the previous destinations where you have been. And then we also have the blog posts section, and now we have the footer. The other thing we'll actually look into is how you can link the menu items to the separate sections. So for example, when I click on the about, it takes me straight to the about page, or sorry, the about section in this case, and also the destination, that takes me straight to the destination. Also there are other sections. For example, if someone clicks on the blog, they are taken to the blog archive page, and I'll also take you through on how you can create this kind of blog archive layout, and also how you can add single blog posts, and also how you can have different headers on the different sections of your website. So for example, this is not a transparent header. Other sections, like for the home page, we have a transparent header. And now for example, if someone clicks and goes to the contact page, they have a different header compared to that at the home page. And I'll also take you through on how you can create this kind of beautiful looking contact page. This is how it will look like. You'll have a form where your website visitors are able to come and be able to write to you, and obviously a footer right over here. The other thing I'll actually show you is how you can actually link that these menu items that are linking to the home page, that you'll be able to actually redirect your website visitor back to the home page, to that specific section that they clicked on. All right, now with that said, let me take you through my process on how I came up with everything over here. So the first thing I did was to run over here to ChatGPT, and I was able to create a website structure for this website. That means for the content, the homepage, the blog, the about, the blog, and also the services. So basically to come up with content I'm going to be using on this demo site. And then I ran over here to Midjourney, and I was able to create some custom layouts for inspiration on how I can create this professional travel blog, which I later had to recreate in Kadence. And from this layout over here and this layout over here is what I used as inspiration for my contact page, and also my about section on the home page. And for our home hero, I got inspiration from this mockup that was created by Midjourney to create our home hero for our blog. And now the challenge was to recreate the similar layout using Kadence and the Kadence blocks. All right, so now with that said, let's get started. Back into our WordPress dashboard, we have a blank installation of WordPress, which is this over here. So we are going to go straight to themes, and we'll have to install our Kadence theme. Over right here, I have the Kadence theme. I'm going to say activate. Now we are going to go to the plugins, and then we are going to go to the installed plugins. You realize that I don't have any plugins over here, so I'm going to say add a new plugin, Kadence blocks. Look it up, it's over here. Currently it has over 300,000 active installs. I'm going to install Great. Now we have the two tools that we need to create our website, but we keep getting a notification of us to install the plugin for the Kadence data templates that we can import and use to build up our website. Now let me first install this plugin and I show you how it looks like. Now it takes me to this dashboard that shows me a number of pretty well-made layouts and templates that I can easily import into this website, and I start customizing these layouts. But in our case, we are not going to use any of these layouts. We are going to build up everything from scratch, so I don't need the starter template. So I'm going to come back here to the plugins, install plugins, and I am going to deactivate this plugin because I don't need it for now. Okay, now first things first, we're going to come here to the settings and we are going to come to general settings. I'll set up my site name and then the site tagline, and then also set up the time zones and also when the week starts and all that stuff. So once you are done, make sure that you save changes, and here under the permalinks you want to make sure that your permalink structure is set to post name, and you want that your post URLs are easily readable and understandable by the human beings and as well as the search engine. So I'm going to save changes to that. I'm going to come over here to appearance, menus, and I'm going to create a menu for our website. So when you look over here, we have home, about, destinations, testimonials, blog, and contact. So when I come over here to menus, I'm going to name this as our main menu. I'll set it to be our primary menu. So we have 3 pages that we have to create. So I am going to first save our menu here, and then I'm going to come over here to pages, and then I'm going to add a page. But let's first go to all pages so that you can have a look at the pages we have. On this case, we have only 2 default pages. So I'm going to say add a new page, and we are going to create our home page, our blog archive page. I'll add another page, which is going to be our contact page. I'll publish that as well. Now we are going to come right over here to our WordPress menu under appearance, menus. Now when you look in the pages area, we have new pages. Ignore this is actually a custom link which is added by default in the menus area. We are going to delete this. We need to use our home page that we created, the contact page, and then the blog page, and that's it. Or the blog archive page, I'll add that to the menu. I'm going to reorder them the way I want. Now we're going to add custom links. So the custom links for our about page. For the URL, we are going to use a hashtag, and then we name this to be about. I'll add to the menu. I'll add another custom link, hashtag testimonials, and the very last one is going to be our destination custom link, destinations. I'll reorder them the way they look like over here: home, about, destinations, testimonials, home, about, destinations, testimonials, blog, and then the contact. I'll save changes, settings, reading settings. Let's set our static page to home page and our post page to blog. Save changes. Now let's go to our homepage and have a look at how our website looks like at the moment. So we have basically done the basic things of adding our site name and also creating our navigation and installing the theme and also the Kadence blocks. So now we are going to go ahead and start customizing our website and build up our website structure. Back into our dashboard, we're going to go to appearance, customize. I'll start off by going to the colors and fonts. By default, Kadence creates for you color palettes that you can use on your WordPress website. So in this case, we have 3 color palettes. I'm going to use the palette number 1, and I simply want to change one color, which is the accent one. And that's where I'm going to add my color code. And that's it all for now. But you can customize all these other colors to the look and feel of how you want, or based on how your website brand guideline is. That's all. Now I'm going to come back over here to our buttons. For the button initial color, I'm going to change this to a blue, and then for on hover, I'm going to change it to our other yellow. I don't know how you call that, but I call it a yellow in this case. So, but you understand what I'm trying to mean. So in this case, now we are done with that. Now let's go straight here to the typography. So under the typography, our base font is actually going to be Montserrat. So I'll change this to the font face, which is this. And it's going to be regular, and it will be 17 pixels. And for our heading font, I'm going to change that to Rubik. So Rubik. And that's all for now. I'll leave the rest on default and it will be inheriting. Now we are done with our colors and fonts. Let's go straight to the header. And under the header, we are actually going to be able to make changes to our logo and the primary navigation, and as well as adding a call to action button over here. First thing you have to understand about the Kadence header builder, it has 3 sections. It has the top header, the header itself, and then the below header. So, or you can call this above header, middle, and then the below header section. We are going to be using only the middle header section, and that's where we're also going to be adding our button. So in this case, we want a button over right there, and that's the button that you see in this case. So we are going to come here to the customizer, come to the available items, and we are going to simply grab our button and drag it over right here to this other section. Great. I'll drag my primary navigation to come before the button. And that's how we happen to have this button over right there. And now you see it's even having our button style already applied. Okay, great. Now let's go to our logo. We want to add a logo for our site. So I'm going to come over here to logos. I'm going to upload my logo, skip cropping. Good. Now we have our logo. We want the logo maximum width to be 80 pixels. And the logo layout is going to be logo and title. And that looks good for now. And the site title is that, and also the site tagline is that. Let's add a site icon. The site icon is the icon that appears up over here, or we call it a favicon, appears up over here in the browser tab, which is this here in this case. So I'm going to come over here. It should be about 512 pixels by 512 pixels. In other words, it should be a square. So I'll upload that as well. Great, now we've added our site icon or site favicon. And if we go to the design option, we want to set that our site title and hover active colors are reflecting what we want. In this case, on hover, we want it to have our yellow, and on active, it's going to be our white color, which is the first one over here. So that's how it looks like for now. It's not appearing because it is in white and our background is in white, but we'll be fixing that in a while. Now we will go back over here to our main header settings and come over here to the transparent header options, and we want to enable a transparent header for our website. I'll disable this and as well disable the transparent header on the posts. We are not going to be changing anything under the design options. Now back over here, we'll exit our header builder. Under the footer builder, we are not changing anything. We'll leave it as it is over there, just like you see here. So the same as it is over right here. Now back over here, we'll go to the general settings, and in the general settings, that is where we are able to set up our layout for our website and all that stuff. We are not changing anything under the layout and sidebar. We are going to come over here to the scroll to top, and we want to enable scroll to top in this case, and we only want to use the very last icon over there, and we want it to be on the right, and we don't want it to appear on the mobile device. So we leave every other thing here on the default settings. Now we come back over here. Let's come here to social links. And here is where you can add links to your social media networks. And later on, when you add icons or social media icons, automatically it will pick up those links that you added over right there. But just in case you want to see how to add that link, in this case, this is my link to my YouTube channel, and as well as a link to my Twitter account. So it is twitter.com. What I'm going to do is come back over here and go straight to the performance. Now, this is something I wanted to mention on earlier when we were in the font section, that enabling your fonts to load locally is actually a very good way to optimize for performance, but also because of the GDPR issues, it's best that you have your fonts loading locally. And I can say for now, we are good to get started. So now I'll go straight and exit our site customizer. And now we're going to go to pages, all pages. We're going to edit our home page. So on our home page, we are going to be building our first hero section, build our second hero section, build a third hero, build our testimonial section, build our destination section, and also build our about section, which also has a listing to our blog posts. But before we get started on that, let me first explain to you a little bit of what is happening over right here. So we have the Gutenberg editor showing up over here. In case you want to hide the page title, you can simply come over here to the page settings, and then you have the option over here that says page title to disable the page title. We have the options to enable or disable the transparent header, or generally also to disable the header on this page. For now, I'm not going to go into that, but we are interested in setting our page layout, and in this case we want it to be a full width page layout. And then we can come back over here to our gear icon where we have the settings for the blocks. Now over right here we have the option to add a block or insert a block, as well as over here to access other tools, like for example the edit, then also the undo and the redo options, and also the information, for example details of what is happening on the page, how many paragraphs, words, and all that stuff. And then we have also a navigator. This is for me the most powerful part of the editor, because it enables me to quickly access certain blocks and sections right inside here in the editor, just like you're going to see in this video. And then obviously we have the Kadence design library over here that gives us access to already created sections and starter templates, including now the new one, which is the wireframe option. And what I'm going to do over here is to add a new row layout, which is this over here. And our row layout is actually going to be a full width row layout. So in this case, we're going to choose full width, and we'll use the theme content inner width, which we already set up in the customizer. Then we want that our content inside this row section is aligned in the middle. Great. Now we are going to add two sections or two equal sections right inside this row layout, and in the other section, that's where we're going to be adding our content. So in that section, we're going to come over here. We can simply add from here, add a paragraph, or in this case we're going to add a heading, and that heading is what is going to have our live your best life now. So we are going to come over here inside our heading, we add live your best life now text. So with this block, we don't have so much options to customize it. That's why I recommend in this case, or what I actually used another block by Kadence. And as you look over here in the blocks section, we have blocks by Kadence, and these are the blocks that come once you install the Kadence blocks add-on. In this case, I'm going to be using the advanced text widget from the Kadence block. So I'll come over here and search for text, and wait, not test but text. So we have advanced text, and that is now the widget that we have over here. So I'm able now to add my text. In here I have even more options to customize this header or advanced header widget. Or in case you want to choose or to set a specific font, you can go ahead, Montserrat, and in this case it's going to be, so size is going to be in EM, and it will be 3.5, and the weight is going to be 800. And now that's how we come up with this, which option wasn't available with this other widget that comes in the Gutenberg blocks, or the default blocks for Gutenberg in WordPress. So I'll delete that widget. Now we'll be using the advanced text widget. The other widget we are going to add is a text widget, which is this over here. And to do that, we're going to come back here, and we'll just simply add a widget inside that section, which is going to be a paragraph widget. Oh, sorry, this is actually taking me outside. I'll click over here, and over right there with that widget selected, I'm going to insert after, and that is going to be a paragraph widget, add our text, and that's all. Now we are going to add another, still insert after, which is going to be for our buttons. So to look up for the buttons, we have to look up for button, and we have this widget called advanced button. That is the widget from the Kadence blocks. And once we add that, and with the advanced button widget, it enables us to create two buttons that are adjacent to each other. So with that block selected, I can come over here to the button count and say add a button. Now we have two buttons over here, add text, and as you can see, for each individual button, you can go ahead and come over here to the button 1 style or button 2 style and customize it to the look and feel of how you want everything to be like. So in this case, I'm going to come over here to the text. Text is going to be in white color. We don't have a background, but we'll have a border which is going to be also in white. We will leave the border width on default. Now on the next one, sorry, you don't see anything over here, but once we have a background, we are going to see the changes. Now let's go to the button style tool. So I'll close this button, open up the second one, and in this button, we are going to also have the text in white, but in this case, we are going to have a background, so which is going to be in our yellow, and in this case, we are going to have the border color also in the yellow so that it matches with the other color of the background. And I'll leave every other thing for now on the default settings. Now we are going to set the button width to be full, and now that will apply for both the buttons. We should not forget to work on the hover colors of our buttons in this case. So I'm going to come back here to the button, and in this case on hover, I'm going to make sure that the text is going to be black in this case, and the background is going to be a white background, and also the border color will be white. I'll do the same for the other buttons. So button 2, when now someone hovers over our button, the color changes to our hover styles that we just set up. Now you'll have to go ahead and link up these buttons to the sections of the pages that you want them to link to on your website. So by maybe searching, or maybe by adding a custom link to the buttons. Now we are going to select our row layout, and to do that you easily can come over here to the navigator, select the row layout in this case, and we are going to add a background image to our row layout. So I'll come over here to the media library, upload, select our image. We are not adding a gutter on our layout, and under padding, we're going to give it a rem of 25. So in this case, I'll change this from pixels to rem. And then we're going to give it a margin at the top of 35 pixels. So that means that it's going to be 35, but it's going to be in negative because we want that for our transparent header, it should be sitting right over here on our image or on our first hero section. And we'll come over here to our background settings. And for our image, now if you move it to this other side, it will be on the top left. Now if you move it over this side, it will be positioned to the top right, which is what we want in this case. And we want that our image is covered and we want it fixed. And this fixed effect is going to enable that when someone scrolls like this, our image is stuck in one place. We will come down below here to the site, the structure, and we are going to set a minimum height for this section, which is going to be 65 VH or viewport height. And so far we are going to update and then have a look at what we are building. So I'm going to come over here to the preview and then open this up in the preview page. And let's have a look at what we just created. Okay, so far so good. Looks like we have to work a little bit on our text. Come over here to the text and we're going to change the text color to be in white. So come over here, text color, that will be in white. And also for this other text, select our widget, not widget, but block in this case. And then we choose that the text, it's going to be as well here in white. Have a look at the preview. All right, so far so good. We are done with our very first hero section. I am happy. Literally everything looks like it's working out of the box. Now let's look into the responsive settings. I mean, most of these processes you're going to be having to repeat them on all the other sections. So in this case, let's go right over here to other devices. So for example, here on the tablet. So in this case, on the tablet, you want that your sections actually collapse. Now let's look at the mobile device. So in this case, if we come over here on the mobile device for our font size, we can reduce that over here to a sizable size. In this case, we can make it like a 2.2. The same you can do for the buttons. I'll now go back here to our desktop view and I'm going to hit update, and then we have a final preview of our page, and that's how it looks like for now. I think for me this is so far so good. Right, so moving on to the second section or the second row layout, we are going to actually be able to add a new row layout in this case. So I'll come over here and look up for a row layout block. It's going to be actually one column in this case, and we will have to use a full width layout. We will use the theme inner content width, and inside our section we'll add a spacer. So this is like a divider widget. You can call it like a divider or spacer widget from the Kadence. It is a 2-in-1 widget where you have a spacer and a divider. So we only want to use the spacer, so I'll disable the divider, and we want this to be only 50 pixels. Now we'll come back over here to our navigator and now select our section, which is this over here, and that section is going to have a background image. So back here to our background settings of the section, select a background image. We are going to add our initial background image that we added on the first hero section, and we want to position this to be at the same exact coordinates like the first hero section here. So I'm going to come here to the first one. This is going to be supposed to be a 60. I'll make it 60 and 6 top weight section. Okay, and left it will be a 60 and top is going to be a 6. That is basically to position where I want my image to be. So background image size, cover, background image attachment is going to be fixed. Great. Now I'm going to select my row layout. I'll come here to the background settings and add a background color, which is going to be our yellow. Now with our section selected, in fact, I'm having 2 sections in here, and yet I only needed 1 section. So I'm going to move my spacer widget into the first section. I'll delete the second section. I don't need it. And I'll add my background image on that first section that we added. So that was my mistake. So that's why I highly recommend that you be using the navigator here. It will give you a list of the blocks that you have running around in your row layouts. We're going to come over here in the block settings, and then you look up for the border styles. We'll give it a radius of 15 and a 15 on the left, and that's how we are coming up to have these rounded borders over there. I should not forget to actually add the background image attachment to be actually fixed, not scroll. And the position, it should be a 60 and a 6. Remember, I had changed the section that was holding the first background image. That's why I have now to go ahead and do the same settings over right there. Looks like we are done. Let's have a preview by updating. I'll have a preview of our page and see if we are actually trying to achieve what we are creating. So I'll scroll down. So we are going to come back over here, and then we will select our row layout. And instead of it having a top padding of 25 pixels, we're going to make it 0. And also bottom padding is going to be 0 pixels. Now let's go and have a look at our preview. This looks good so far. So what we are going to do now, we'll add another section, which is this other section, because now we have achieved this part of our hero. Now we are going to add this other section over below here. So to do that, we are going to come back here. We'll add a new row layout. It's going to have 3 columns or 3 sections in this case. Select that, and we are going to have it to be full width, and we will maintain that everything is within the theme inner content width, and we're going to give it a background color, which is going to actually be our other yellow color. So background color, which is our yellow color. With our row layout selected, we're going to come to the padding and margins. So remove everything here, and change this to pixels. I'm going to give it a padding on top of 5, and bottom is going to be 7%. So I'm going now to add my blocks in here. So first is going to be a paragraph block. Okay, so now we're going to add our images, but these images have a certain texture in the background over here. So how are we able to achieve that? First, I'll add the images. So I'll come over here, get our image widget. So I'll upload We will add our image, but our image is actually in landscape format, but we want to edit it and have it in the portrait format. I'm going to select the image, come to the crop icon. I'll come here to the aspect ratio option. I'll change that to a 3:4, and I'll position the image how I want it to appear, or the section I want to appear in the final output, and I'll say apply. Now we are going to add our pattern that is appearing right here in the back. There are a couple of platforms that you can use to generate your patterns. In this case, I used the superdesigner.co website, where I just come over here and then choose a pattern that I want, then remove the background, then I can have a final transparent image to use. But we are adding that pattern to the section. So I'm going to select the section, and I'm going to come over here to the background settings. I'll add a background image. Then I'll come over here and look up for our pattern. From Photoshop, I gave it an opacity of 40%. So now I'll add my pattern. Now, how do I position my pattern to where I want it to be in the section? So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to choose its position to be top up here. I'll choose it to be auto for the size, and I don't want it to repeat, and it will be on scroll. With still our section selected, I am going to come over here to the padding and alignment. I'll add a padding of 20 pixels at the top and padding of 20 pixels on the left. So 20 pixels on the left, and you can now see that our pattern is visible. Now we can select this section, copy style, go to the other section and come over here and say paste styles. Now that will now bring automatically our pattern to appear right over there. Now we can add our image. Once it is right inside here in our block editor, we're going to come over here to the crop option, come down here, select the aspect ratio, position our image the way we want, and then we can apply. Great, now our image is positioned well. We are now going to select our row layout, and we are going to choose over here that we want everything to be aligned in the middle. And for now, I'm going to go and say update, and now we can preview. All right, now when I scroll down my page, we have our hero section, or our second hero section, showing up with our images and our content right over there. So for the interest of time, I'm going to make this tutorial go for 2 hours. I am going to add the other sections real fast, and then later I'm going to explain to you exactly what I did so that you can as well implement the same in your designs. I'm sure you noticed that we had not made edits to our button to reflect this call to action. So to do that, we are going to come back here to our customizer, and we go straight to the heading settings, select the button, and under the button label, that's where we add the text. And you would want to add a link to where your visitors will be redirected once they click on that button. That's why I added the link to the contact page. So once you are done, don't forget to hit publish, and now your changes will be saved. Now, when you look over here on our website, I've actually made a couple of changes. Apart from editing the button text over here, I have added a new section over here, and the testimonials section, and also the destination section, and all this other content. Let me take you through back in the back end how I managed to add all these sections. So for example, when you come over here on our homepage, so I already took you through how to add these sections over here. Now this other section, or this other row layout, which is over here, is basically a full width layout, and we gave it a background color of white, and it's having a section which has another row layout inside, and that row layout has 2 other sections. So this section, which is empty, and this other section has actually 2 sections. The first section is a section without the background color and also has a spacer, and then the mission statement section, which is down below here. So we also added a background color for this mission statement section, which we added, and that's how we could achieve this layout over right there. Now for the testimonials layout, or the row layout for the testimonials, here what we did was to simply add a testimonials widget. For example, when I search for testimonials, we have a testimonials widget over there. Then we can say we want this layout, and when your layout shows up over here, you can choose how many items you want to show in the testimonial. In this case, if you want 3, and how many columns you want 3 columns, and the gap between the testimonials. And over here, you are able to edit each and every testimonial item, and you can even choose to disable maybe the title if you don't want it to appear, or as well go ahead and customize. For example, in this case, I removed the media. The media can be the image of the author, and I left the icon. So in this case, when I enable the icon, and here I went ahead and looked up for the mail icon. So in this case, and that's how I happen to have something like that. Can go ahead and customize each and every other bit of the testimonials widget. This is actually a very powerful widget by the Kadence blocks, and I really liked it because of the customization features it brings, and moreover, it's coming in the free version of the Kadence blocks. So I'll unlock this and then delete. Second last section, which is having our destinations. This is having the normal layout that we created earlier with our background color and 2 sections in here, the first section and then also the second section. So the first section has our destination heading and the paragraphs right in there with a list of the destinations and also our advanced button, just like we use the advanced button over right here in the first hero section. Now in the second section is a portrait image over right there. Don't forget always to check the responsiveness of each and every section, because hey, actually Kadence gives you all that power. By selecting the row layout or the section, you are able to go and view how that section is going to look like on a mobile device. And you can even change the structure of that layout or row layout based on the device, just like you see over right there. Okay, now let's go to the very last layout. So we have our row layout. So in this case, we actually collapsed our rows to be in the vertical direction. And now that's why we are having 2 sections, the first section, which is this, and now the second section, which is below the first section. So the first section is actually holding our content, the paragraphs and everything. And then the other section is holding our blog archives. Now the blog archive widget is also coming in the Kadence blocks. And of course, you can manage how your blog posts, for example, you can select the post type, you can show pages, then you can order by, you can show the number of items. In this case, there are 3 items. You can include, you have a filter for the blog post. I mean, Kadence is actually giving you so much possibilities and customization features in the free version. And then you can also select a post type. You can choose to allow sticky posts. You can choose a layout, and then the image settings over here. In case you disable the images on the posts, obviously you will not have the thumbnail images. You can change the titles. All these other settings right over there comes through for the post block from the Kadence blocks. How is someone able to, in this case, if they click on the about menu item and they are taken straight to the about section of the page, and if they are on a new page, or for example, this is the contact page, how are they able to go straight to the about page section on the home page? So in this case, when someone clicks about, they will be taken straight to that section of the page. To do that, we are going to come back here to our page, so which is our home page, and we are going to give anchor tags for each and every section or element where we want people to be taken once they click a certain menu item. So in this case, I'm going to start with the last layout or section. So in this case, this is the about section, I would say. So with it selected, I want that when someone clicks on the menu item about, they are taken to this section. So I'm going to come over here to advanced, and I'm going to give it an anchor tag or an HTML anchor of the word about, simply that. And the good thing is with Gutenberg, if you add an anchor tag, it is also added or shown over here on the row layout. Then we're also going to add the same for destinations. So with destination layout, row layout selected, come down below here, then we add our anchor, which is destinations. Then the same we are going to do for the testimonials. So anchor testimonials. Now with that done for now, when I come here to our page, I reload the page. Now, when I click on about, I am not taken anywhere. So now how do I link those sections with the anchor tag to the menu items? I am going to go straight to the appearance option. So appearance, menus, and we have about, we have destination, we have testimonials. Now we have to use the same exact anchor text we use in those sections. So here about, we are going to add about. Don't forget to add the hashtag or to leave the hashtag there. So the same for destinations, I'm going to say destinations, and the same for our testimonials, hashtag testimonials. And now I'm going to save changes. I'll come here to our page. I'm going to reload. And now when I click on about, boom. When now I click on destinations, voila. When I click on testimonials, great. Now, when I go to another page, for example, the contact page, and now I click on destinations, I am not taken anywhere. So how do we fix this? It's a very simple trick we can use here. We are going to come here to our home page. We are going to copy our URL, come back to menus, come to the menu item, and for that menu item, we are going to add the homepage URL / the anchor tag that we had already created. For all the other custom menu items, we're going to come to, for example, now destinations, and just add our homepage URL. Same for the testimonials, add our homepage URL, and now we are going to save changes. Now let's go back, reload this. When I click on destinations, I should be taken to destinations. However, if I go to the contact page and now I click on a destination menu item, it should be able to take me back to the home page at the destination section. So I click now destinations, and voila, I am taken straight to the destinations section on the home page. Great. So it looks like everything is now gaining shape, and you have now learned how to create all these sections using the Kadence blocks. But now, before we go any further, we want to look into how we can actually create these blog posts. So how do you manage to achieve a blog post layout like this? So this is actually a very simple process because Kadence makes everything easy from the look of things. So under the customizer, you'll have to come back here to the posts and page layouts, and then come over here to the single post layout. And here is where you set up how the layout for your blog post is going to look like. And for example, in this case, this is the layout we are using, which is a narrow layout. And if you switch that to another, for example, if I choose to use the normal layout, publish, and now you see that that layout changes. In this case, I want to use the narrow layout. And in this case, for our layout, we are not having a sidebar. However, if we had enabled a sidebar, then we'll have to choose a sidebar that we want to use in that case. So you can go ahead and make changes to how your posts or single post layouts are going to appear like over right there. However, we also have the related posts section, and you want to select how many columns that section is going to be. So which is the section that appears down below here. So do you want 2 columns or 3 columns? You can go ahead and set that up over here, and you can enable it to loop endlessly in a carousel. Okay, great. So in this case, I'm going to save the changes. Now let's talk about the blog archive. So which is that over here. So setting up the blog archive, you simply have to come back over here, blog archive layout, the blog archive title, how many columns you want for your blog archives, right over there. But the most important thing for me right now is for you to be able to choose which header is appearing where. So as you can see over here on our blog archive, we are having actually a transparent header. So that means that we enable the transparent header also on the search and archive posts. Now, when you look over here on the single blog post, so for example, when I open up my climbing Mount Kilimanjaro blog post over here, you see that we don't have a transparent header. That option, so it means that we disable the transparent header on the single posts, and that's why they appear just like this. So how do you set the background for the normal header? Under the main header options, so in the case whereby the transparent header is not active, then it will adopt to using the main header settings, and that's why when you look over here in the main header background, we have a white color, and that is what we see over right there. Great. Now let's go and look into how we can create our contact page, or how I managed to create a contact page just like this. Now for our contact page, it is actually not using a transparent header, and I'm going to show you how we come to that conclusion. So I'll exit, come to pages. The contact page is actually using the same or similar layout that we created for one of our sections on the home page, this very section here. So it's using the same concept, but in the other case, it is on a full width layout. So in this case, we are going to come over here to the page once it's opened up. And one thing you notice is that it's not using a transparent header. So when you come over here to page settings, transparent header option is disabled. Now in this case, if I had it enabled and reload, you see that now we have a transparent header, but that's not the case of what we wanted to have, so I have it disabled. So here we can set the page layout. We want this to be full width, and that's what you see. And now when we go into the nitty-gritties of how we build this page, we have just one row layout having two sections, so this section and the second section, and inside the second section, that's where we are actually having all the other content. In that second section, we have a row layout, and that row layout is actually running in the vertical direction, just like you see over right here. And then we added our first section, which is holding the first content or paragraph, and then the heading. And then we added a spacer widget to have this space over right there. In that section, we added the content and the paragraph, and also we had to add a form. This form is actually a widget from the Kadence blocks. So to add such a form, you just come over here to blocks, look up for a form, and this is how it looks like over right there. Now with this form, you can literally customize each and everything. So let me just take you through. For example, for the name settings, which is the option over here, you can choose the type of that field. So in this case, this is going to be text, and you can choose either to have it required, and also the field label is name. If you enable that you want to show a field label, you'll have something on top of the field. So in this case, when I say show, now we have that. I didn't want to have something like that. I disabled it, and then I added a placeholder because I wanted that my field labels appear as placeholders. Then the other most interesting part for me is the actions after submit. You want that this form is sent as an email. I mean, this is a very powerful form feature. If you are using Elementor, this feature is coming in Elementor Pro to have such a form. And here you're only using the Kadence blocks for Gutenberg, which is actually a free plugin. Then the other option is actually for you to enable the email settings. So for example, if someone uses this form to write you an email, where should that email go to? That email should go to the email that you enter here. It can be your Gmail, or it can be your name at your website address.com. And then the subject of the email, let me assume that you had added a field over here, and that field, you named it, for example, it's going to be a text. You said, for example, it's going to be a subject of, why someone is writing. So you would actually position that by come over here and select this form and move it up. So after name, someone adds the subject and then their email. So you could use this email subject as the from subject email over right here. So you can echo this field and add it over here so that when someone sends you an email using this form, you automatically know the subject of that email. Delete this since I don't need it. And then now the other settings, like for example, you want that when this email is sent, it should be sent as an HTML. Then you can go ahead and do the stylings for each and every field right over here for the form, including the message settings once the message is successful or once the message is successfully sent. That's how we built up our contact page to look just like this over right there. And just like that, you are able to build up your WordPress blog using the Kadence theme and the Kadence blog in less than 1 hour, from this blank, ugly looking page to a page like this over here, including all the website content and sections and images, as well as a contact page with a contact form, and everything looking nice and neat. Now, one thing I have to mention is that before you launch your website, after building everything using the Kadence theme and the Kadence blocks, make sure that you take advantage of the responsive options or the responsive features that Kadence gives you, so that your website or blog is fully responsive on all mobile devices. Otherwise, with that said, thank you so much for watching this video. I had so much fun creating this video and playing around with Gutenberg. I know most of you know my channel as an Elementor channel, but also when I have the opportunity to check out Gutenberg and see what features it's actually bringing to the table, and most of the fact that I'm using Gutenberg on my blog or my personal blog, it makes me to actually appreciate the process of how far everything has come. And hey, let me know down in the comment box below if this video has some way inspired you to consider using Gutenberg or the Kadence theme and the Kadence blocks in your next web design project. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good time and goodbye.